small biz pro, and so we grow. Using procurement, program, and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Business Zone with
Crystal
and Coach Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. And today, folks, we want to thank you for joining us on this amazing day. It is Hispanic Heritage Month, and we really want to say happy Hispanic Heritage Month to all the Latinos here in Los Angeles and adjoining counties, Los Angeles, Ventura, Riverside, Orange County, you name it. So happy Hispanic Heritage Month.
Awesome. Yes, to all of our Hispanic business owners out there. It's your month. Enjoy your month like we do our month. It's awesome. I don't know if I think I've been seeing some events going on. I know Edison.
Yeah, Edison, they're pretty good at doing those every year.
Yeah, because they do one for African American, for Black History Month, and usually Dave Fort puts it on, and I know they're big on his. And I had a meeting with them on Monday, and they, I think they were talking about that. So yeah, and congratulations and thank you to all of the Hispanic and Latino business owners out there. They're doing their thing in their space. I have to say that, man.
Yes, they definitely are, and they're getting a lot of support from a lot of organizations. A lot of Latinos are in senior level positions in banks and in procurement agencies and economic development agencies. So their coalition is working and it's helping. I'm also the procurement chair for the Hispanic Coalition of Small Businesses in the Inland Empire. So we've got a variety of small businesses that we help. And as you know, Crystal, back in 2016, I received the Latino Business Advocate Award for the year for 2016. Because I was traveling throughout the whole state of California helping Latino businesses becoming business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. And it was such an honor to receive that award because in the room there were over 300 other Latino consultants, and they chose me.
Oh wow! Okay,
so that speaks for itself right there.
It does.
I have my tool, my platform, Small Biz Pro, that I use to help prepare and get these businesses ready. So at least I had a tool with proof of concept that we were able to use to help these businesses. So we want to spread this across the nation and also internationally to help share this type of back office resource to small businesses. The only strange thing about this celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month is they started in the middle of September, and it's going to run to the middle of October. I can never understand that. I don't know why they didn't just do September 1st to September 30th or October 1st to October 31st. I don't get that.
Yeah, because I think I had asked you, I like that on the community briefing, I usually, whatever the month is that we're celebrating.
Right.
And then when I did the search, it was like, okay, wait, that's mid-month. But it's also self-care awareness month. There's a whole bunch of things in 1 month, right? So maybe that's why they did it, so that they would have an area that was just their own for like in a crossover into the next month, but then next month it'll be something else. But I too, I teach for the New Women's Business Center, which is is primarily a Hispanic a platform out of the Valley, and I will say they go all out for their businesses, with a very specific and distinctive goal, and that's the only, I teach for a number of organizations as well as you, And but I know when I do a workshop for them,
Yeah.
I at least got 15 to 20 people in the
Right.
workshop.
Right.
And I've been doing that teaching for them for the last 6 years.
Yeah.
And full classes I mean I do we do a 6-week series, and I do 4 of those workshops, and every class continuously to come back,
Yeah.
the same group. And so I don't know what they do differently with their marketing
Yeah.
than some other entities that I work for, but they
Yeah.
do a good job. That's what
You
I
know,
would say. They would do an excellent job.
my goal is to bring the Latino entrepreneurs and the African American entrepreneurs together, because I'm telling you, I've been preaching this for years now, for decades. Bringing Latino entrepreneurs and African American entrepreneurs together. If we do that, can you imagine our spending power? How powerful that would be?
Well,
You,
not just our spending power, but our voice, the
yeah,
voice to
yeah,
in policy. Sharon, I don't know if you are aware, but Sharon has been we elected her, or she was elected through the LA County
yeah,
Serve
yeah.
program.
I voted for her.
Yeah, so did I. So she was on yesterday on the community briefing, and
Mm-hmm.
now that's what that's going to do. That's going to bring all entities, not just us, but all
Right.
people of color are going to come together. And Sharon's all about policy, and
Mm-hmm.
so it's going to be making sure policy is created
Mm-hmm.
to in the economic business development space over the
Right.
next 10 years for all of us, and especially with all of the resources and opportunities that are coming up in the next 10 years, actually.
Right.
So, we celebrated, we talked about that yesterday. So really powerful. RBD, I joined with RBD. I'm sure you did when she asked you as well.
Yeah.
So, but
Uh,
yes, I agree with you.
yeah, I mean, think about it, man. Think about how powerful we will be. You have the Latinos and African Americans coming together. We're trading among ourselves. We're purchasing. We're supporting each other. We're providing technical support. We're becoming customers to other Latino and African American entrepreneurs. I mean, that alone right there occupies at least 51% of the population. At least 51% when you
Hmm.
combine just those two minority groups alone. You see
I
what I'm
I
saying?
agree. I agree.
So instead of us trying to get a contract from, say, Metro or the county or the state, we can do business among ourselves or team up together and go after contracts with the county, the state, the city,
Hmm.
Metro, and all those types of things. And that's what we should be doing. But instead, we're operating in silos where we have one group over here doing their own thing, another group over there doing their own thing, and then it's all just a mishmash of
Well,
groups coming
there are
together.
outside influences that are trying to make sure that these two
Oh yeah,
entities
oh
don't
yeah,
come together,
oh
because
yeah, oh yeah.
that creates a very powerful
They know
force.
how powerful that would be.
Yeah, and we're in a country, today the country is so diverse, um, through the political end,
Yeah.
the GOP, that division is even more prevalent than it used to be. So I think it's all about every man for itself at this point. So the men and that of people of color, and that includes all minorities. Actually, we need to be joining forces
We should be.
so that we could get a bigger voice and make
Yeah.
sure that we're all and for me, Gilbert, it's all about what the future looks like, right? And the
Oh,
future
for
to
sure.
me is about our young people. So our young people are coming out of colleges. It doesn't matter what ethnicity they are or nationality they are. They're coming out of college with very limited resources.
Yeah.
The school systems across the country is just ridiculously crazy. I
Yeah.
was reading an article, and I don't understand this, but I was reading an article the other day that there is so much truancy in from elementary school all the way up to junior high and high school. So when do
And
you have choice? Now I get the college thing. You got
yeah.
options whether you want to go to college or not,
Yeah.
right? But how the heck do you have choice not to go to school from kindergarten up to high school. I don't understand that.
I kind of understand that part, and it's a shame because a lot of high school kids right now, just like you and I, we talk about this, and we should set aside a show to discuss this in full. Just like you and I discussed the student loan situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a mafia type situation going on right there.
Yeah, from the
The
college level.
government is in league with these student loan lending providers. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So they can charge whatever they want. They have like unlimited leverage over these loans that they provide. They make up their own terms as they go along. No one is monitoring them. No one is auditing them. No one is holding them accountable. So when the high school kids see that and see people graduating from college and coming out of college with $100,000 bill debt, you know, they're going, hey, I'm not encouraged to do this. So why am I even doing it? Why am I even going to school? There's no hope for me. That's what they're thinking. And that's why I strongly believe we should bring back the trade schools. We should bring back the technical career occupations like mechanics, like woodwork, those types of things, because those are money-making fields. You see what I mean? So a lot of people, and then the system is designed, one, to separate us, and secondly, to burden us with debt, to give us unnecessary debt. So going to college right now, I personally don't see that as something positive for us. I don't mind, and I told this to one of my bankers, right? I said, listen, I asked him if he had kids in college, and he said, yeah. I said, listen, man, you don't really need to send them to a 4-year college. You don't need to send them to get a master's. Just have them do a 2-year program at a community college. Mm-hmm. It's cheaper. And then after that, they either become an entrepreneur or they venture out into some technical field. You see what that is much cheaper than going to college.
And that's exactly right. But in the elementary, even before you get to high school, in kindergarten, from elementary school, middle school, you got to be able to develop the basic skills. You got to know how to read and write. You can't do anything anywhere.
That part we know they have to do.
So we our kids have to be educated.
Right.
I teach a youth entrepreneur program. Now it's not so much in the latter years, it hadn't been too much of a problem. But I will tell you, when I first started teaching that program and the kids were writing their business plan, I was absolutely shocked how many kids could not spell, and they wouldn't let me read their plans because they were embarrassed. And I'm like, well, what happened to spelling bees? What happened to learning how? So those are basics. Those are you writing, reading, and arithmetic and math. You have to know even before you get to the college piece, right? Because you got to be able to graduate from high school. You cannot function in this world without a high school diploma for sure.
And the parents are busy working because they got to try to get 2 and 3 different incomes to make ends meet in the house, to pay the bills and all of that. So they really don't have time to go over the homework with these kids.
Right. So that's where, I guess the difference between when we were growing up, which, seems like ancient history, but however, there was a village. But I will say my mom, she worked 2 and 3 jobs, but we lived in a community where we knew each other. So my mom worked at night, preferably so that she could be there when we came home from school to make sure we did our homework. Right. And she had our neighbors. My mom would, we would go over to across the street to our neighbors, and she would, when she came in the morning because she was a nurse, when she came in from that, she would have, we would have to go over to my neighbor's house so that they could get us to school, so that when she was working in the daytime hours, then she could go on to work. So we'd be over there at 5 o'clock in the morning, finishing out our sleep then we'd be all dressed and all
Wow.
that they would take us to school.
Wow.
Then my mom would be home by 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
And by 3 o'clock, but as we got older, my mom switched her time so that she worked at night. She went in at 11 to 7. So she was there in the morning for us to get up and get to school. And there was no conversation about whether or not your butt was going to school.
Yeah.
You were going
to
school.
It was mandatory.
Mandatory unless you had pneumonia and had to be hospitalized.
Or you're paralyzed.
That was the only way you were not going to school. But also at that same time, and I remember being on the East, I'm from the East Coast. So, opportunities. I wanted to be a doctor when I was in school and was heading in that direction. And then my parents divorced when I was in 10th grade and we moved out here. So things changed. So I had to flip up and come up with a different plan. But because, she couldn't afford medical school. And all that sort of stuff. And I didn't want all that kind of crazy debt until I actually got to medical school.
So you mean you'd be Dr. Mitchell now?
I'd be Dr. Mitchell and I would have been a pediatrician.
All righty then. That's what I'm talking about.
but I had to make a career change. But education is very important. And and I agree. Now I knew as a child, I knew entrepreneurship was my pathway, but I still knew I had to, and I did college my way. So I don't have all the debt that you guys have.
Yeah.
So I went I went junior college, then I went, 2 years later, I worked while I was going it. So I don't have any school loans.
Would you believe I'm still fighting with those goddamn student loan providers?
How come wait? Well, how come you didn't get because my aunt just got hers forgiven. Of course, she's 80-something years old and she finally got hers forgiven, but you fall in that category. Why didn't yours get forgiven?
I think it's the principle why I don't want to do it, because I borrowed $46,000, right? $46,000. You may want to round it off to 50,000.
Well, that's a car note. That's a
car note right there.
That's not even a luxury car. That's kind of like maybe a Toyota or high end, the top end of a Toyota.
You see what I'm saying? So 46,000 is what I borrowed. I borrowed this in 1999. Okay. 1999. It's now 24 years later. And these jerks, these mafiosos are still telling me that I owe them 33 grand. Now, how can that be? I paid 93,000 already, right? They're telling me I still owe 33 grand. So I had to keep sending letters to the Attorney General back and forth. The Attorney General, the last response, he said, hey, we sue those guys. And I want to put the name out there because I want people to know. It's a company called Navient, Navient. They're a student loan service provider. They're criminals. I want them to sue me. Because
So this is a principal thing. You didn't get yours forgiven. We lost him. Let me bring you back. So wait, they didn't kick you off of air, dude.
You notice as soon as I said that, your reception got interrupted.
You got kicked off the air, dude.
So I want them to sue me so I can do a cross complaint and cross sue them, because I know I'll be making a lot of money off these criminals. You see what I'm saying? So anyway, going back to your point, you're saying, why don't I take the relief, the waiver? Yeah. I don't owe these guys any money, so why should I be taking a waiver? You see what I'm saying? They owe me money.
So wait a minute. So is the 93 interest?
No, it can't be interest.
If you paid 93, you didn't pay 4 times the interest plus the principal.
Exactly.
So I'm in the math world.
I calculated the 46,000, right? The interest rate was 7.875%. Okay. It's 23 years. It was a simple interest loan. Any simple interest loan, will generally go anywhere from 5 to 10 years. I think I can't find the paperwork. I think they said it was going to be for 10 years. I think. So even then, we already passed 10 years. It's now 23 years.
Oh no, you
so,
old man
so,
now.
so we should have
retirement age.
exactly.
Retirement age.
So we should have paid this loan over and over multiple times. You see what I'm saying? They're still telling me I owe that. So, and then on top of that, they got the nerve to claim that they sold the loan to yeah, exactly. Fernando said they're scam artists.
I think you were scammed.
I was scammed.
We have a financial strategic advisor. We're gonna talk to him about this because, man,
you know, I have a friend.
Scammed.
I have a friend who works at CNN, and I can't wait to do an interview live about this company. Navient, that's the name of the company. I reached out to their president. He ignored me. Wow. So I wrote him a letter.
So this is for your master's program.
Yeah, my undergrad. My undergrad. It was for my community college, my undergrad, and my graduate program. All of that was 46 grand. Wow. All of that back in the day. Education was a little cheaper, right?
You could have bought a Benz for that, right? At least
I could have bought a condo. Entry level Benz. I could have bought a condo for that. So these guys are criminals. So going back to my point, what I was saying, right? I was saying it doesn't make sense for students today to go through any of these 4-year or 6-year programs because all these loan entities are doing is scamming them. So if you go to a 2-year program where you get the basic skill from high school, then the community college, then you venture off into entrepreneurship or into some technical field, that's all you need. You don't need to owe these scammers, man.
Right. Or another strategy is, because I always tell everyone that even if entrepreneurship is your end goal, go work for a corporation. One, you learn how a business runs from the successful, being successfully being at a successful company.
Right.
And if you go to a large corporation, you can get them to pay for your school. So
exactly.
My school was paid for by the company I worked for. I gave them 10 years. That was my investment and in them. And that was their investment back in me. All my cousins went into the military because I think you do 2 years. You can do a 2-year program and get your education paid.
Right.
So at the time, no war. So they got my cousin got one of my cousins
the GI Bill.
Right. He got his undergrad and his JD program paid for by the U.S. government. My cousin, she got her BA from the government. And so there's so many different routes that you can go. But again, you have to know what those are. My nephews, the oldest one, he has just a very small loan from his grad program, but he didn't have any loans undergrad, and he graduated from University of Dayton, and then he actually worked at his University of Houston, but he had to take a very small loan, so it's about $10,000-$15,000.
Yeah.
And the other one, he went junior college for the first 2 years, got his AA. Now he's at a SCAD down in North Carolina. I mean, in Atlanta, in Savannah. And so I think he has a small loan. Neither one of them is going to be anything. If both of them got good jobs, so paying off their, putting that emphasis, they live at home, put that emphasis on and double up on the principle of it, so you can get rid of it. But you got to have some strategy. But I don't know, man. They seem to have scammed you.
But I'm gonna expose them, man. I'm gonna expose them because I'm gonna go to one of these news agencies and just do a live interview with them. I have a buddy who works at CNN. He's always been curious about interviewing me about student loans because when I told him my situation, he couldn't believe it. He said, "Well, we got to get you on the air, so we can talk about this."
And I'm sure you're not the only one out there.
I'm sure there's a lot more people out there. And I just want to say this last thing before we bring on our guest today. And folks, we've got an amazing guest who's coming on in about 3 to 5 minutes. He's phenomenal. We can't wait to talk to him. He's going to be talking a little similar to what we're talking about right now. He's going to be talking about doing entrepreneurial business, not only regionally or nationally, but internationally. So what
and he's
I'm
going to actually talk about also how you gain wealth and through capital gains and taxes and some
yes,
strategy, man.
yes,
And maybe he got one for those
yeah,
of you.
exactly. And
Well, how
and
to
and,
deal with your
and, and the
student
thing that I want to say real quickly is there may be some of you out there thinking of going to college because you want to become an attorney or you want to become a doctor or craft like those. Those I understand. You have to go through the undergrad and the graduate program and, pre-doctoral or whatever, right? Pre-med. I understand that. So you're going to end up with your huge bill, 150 to 200 grand. I understand that. But if you're not going in any of those fields, guys, you don't need to go to a 4-year school. You don't need to get a master's degree for that. You can get a 2-year degree. As a matter of fact, I am recommending that most of you out there venture into entrepreneurship, because when you go to school and you come back and you go work for a corporation, you're only helping that corporation to become rich. There's nothing really that much benefit in there for you. When you venture out into entrepreneurship, then you can work on becoming rich yourself. But you can't get rich working for a corporation. So I just want to put that out there, guys. Think about it. Think about how many years you're going to spend. You're going to be spending at least 8 years doing these types of things, hoping at the end to get a job with a corporation. And then you end up with this big old student mafioso loan that they're doubling up on you on interest. They just throw fees in there whenever they're ready. I look up my spreadsheet, right? I look up my spreadsheet. They said, oh, late fees. Then they said some other fees. And then they said, didn't respond to me fees, or I didn't like you fees, all kinds of fees they're throwing in there, guys. And the government is doing nothing about it. I found out the other day that this organization, Navient, was an arm of the government. I'm going, what? Now I know why the government is not responding to my letters. I'm complaining, right? So the Attorney General told me that he said, okay, we sued this organization back in 2021. They're supposed to be paying over like $40 billion to students, right? And you're supposed to get some money back. They're supposed to wipe out your loans, and that's it. They haven't wiped out my loan. They haven't given me any money back. And on top of that, they're charging me an additional $33,000. This is ridiculous, guys. So that's my rant for today. I'll put it on hold. I'll talk about it another time. But the moral of the story is, guys, you don't necessarily have to go to a 4-year school or master's program if you want to become an entrepreneur. You can. Most of what our entrepreneurs learn is through us, providing them coaching, one-on-one, training, workshops, webinars. Those are the types of things. A lot of small businesses have told me, and I'm sure they've told my co-host the same thing, that, man, I wish I had known you guys 10 years ago, because the things you guys are teaching me, man, oh, man, I didn't learn this in school. I taught a class at Pepperdine, right? I taught a program, an entrepreneurship program at Pepperdine. All the entrepreneurs said, man, I wish I'd met you before I enrolled in Pepperdine, because what these professors are teaching me is nothing close to what you got, because we're entrepreneurs. We're real entrepreneurs, guys.
Yeah, there's definitely a difference.
We're not a professor that's reading from a paper or reading from a book telling you how to run a business. That's not, we're real entrepreneurs. We've been in the trenches, in the gutters. We've learned. We've stubbed our toes on our knees, and we learned from that. And that's what we're sharing with you guys. So yeah. I just want to get off my
get that off your chest. You'll get that off your chest.
And bring in our guests right now.
Well,
so did you want to do Small Biz Pro first? Or?
Yeah, I'm gonna do Small Biz Pro, but I do agree with you. But I do think there should be focuses on trades. Because trades become businesses.
Yes.
and you actually can have a very successful plumbing business. You can have a very successful construction business,
electrical, you name it.
you name it, with a trade. You can be very successful at that. But we have to start young people at a very early age, understanding that there are other opportunities. And unfortunately, a lot of them do go to college not even knowing what they want to do anyway.
Exactly. And they end up taking on that loan to learn, to figure out what they want to do, which is not a good thing.
Yeah, right. So you should have a better focus. And if you don't have a focus, then junior college is a better option for you, because at best you might be paying $1,200 a year, especially if you're in state. I think college in California, junior college in California, is now free, I believe. I think the governor made that. I think that was a change, if I recall.
I have no idea how much it costs right now. I just know it's a big criminal enterprise. That's all I know.
Well, college can be because that's $250,000. Even years ago, Susie Orman and Dave Ramsey indicated maybe college was much too big of an investment.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But we're going to talk to our financial advisor, and he's going to give us his take on it.
I want to thank you, though, co-host. I want to thank you for the work you're doing with these young minds, the young entrepreneurs that you and Miss Rhonda are breeding, you're fostering over there in the BizCamp program, because those entrepreneurs are brilliant. I love them. These kids are what? The oldest kid is what, 15?
The oldest kid is 18. The youngest kid can be, if they already have a business, they can be as young as 9 or 10. We've had some exceptions where we've had some 9 and 10-year-olds in the program, but pretty much they're between the ages of 12 and 17.
Those kids have written some amazing business plan, man. When I read their business plans, I go, oh my Lord, my adult entrepreneurs don't even write plans like these. Right. See what I'm saying? I love them. So thank you for the work you're doing.
You're welcome. And with that, I'm going to congratulate one of our participants, our alum participants, Amila Charles. She actually she came to us when she was 14. And she created a hair care product line.
Oh, I remember that.
Remember her? Called Curly Crowns.
Yes.
So today, or this week, she is in Austria competing in a world competition.
That's amazing.
And so with the competition prize being about $10,000. In fact, here's how honored I am. So excited about her. She reached out to me a couple weeks ago to say, Miss Crystal, I need tax advice because I'm filing my first taxes as an entrepreneur. So I got to help her get her accounting set up so that she can file her taxes on October 16th.
That's amazing.
For all of her prize money.
I am so proud of you and the work you're doing with those young entrepreneurs. That's what we need to do, man. We need to breed and foster young entrepreneurs, man. We want a collection of them. We want at least 100 of them. Just coach them over a 6 to 8 month period, even a 12-month period, and just put them out there in the world and let them function, man.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that. Yeah, because there's something in the news recently, with the auto workers strike and the screenwriters strike. They're saying in America, our CEOs are making 399 times more than their employers. That's crazy, man. They're working. The employees are barely surviving, and they over there making almost 400 times more than their employees, and then they expect loyalty. So before we do this, Gilbert, let's do. One, you guys have been you're tuned into the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert, and we'd love for you to join us. Go over to our YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button, and you can also, as soon as my thing works over here, you can also go right here and take a picture of that QR code, but you can go to our YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button so that you get notification. We're here every week at 3:00 with either Gilbert and I doing class and session with over our 60 plus years of expertise. And as well as we have some phenomenal guests like we have today that's going to share their knowledge and their information with you as well. one of the things that entrepreneurs have to have is they have to be constantly educating themselves to be better business owners. We just can't work in our business. We have to be able to work on our business. That's very important. So hit that subscribe button. We would love to have you as part of the Business Zone family. And with that, Gilbert, I am going to cut over to our little commercial.
Yes.
And then we're going to bring on our guests. Or actually, we'll bring our guests on, and then we're going to cut to the commercial. and we're going to do that way.
Our field correspondent, Greg Snee, just joined us. He said it's at 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
Poor Greg, he have to tell you, he got scammed this weekend. He
good. Really? Oh my
Lord! He got scammed. He was not a happy camper. And his Greg's birthday was on Tuesday.
Oh my Lord, Greg!
That was one of his birthday presents.
I'm not laughing at you, Greg. I'm just laughing with you right now. He said they got me.
They got him, man. They got him good too. All right, let's go over here to Small Biz Pro. And
while you're queuing that up, I just want to let you guys know, if you're tuning in for the first time, this Small Biz Pro platform is an invention, a creation of mine, yours truly. I've created that about 15, 16 years ago. I've been in the industry, and I figure out that small business need a tool that can help them to better prepare themselves, manage their paperwork, help them with assessments so they can know whether they're ready or not, give them that certification readiness, business readiness, loan readiness, nonprofit readiness, and contract readiness. So that's what this platform is. So listen to this video.
All righty. So let me cue it up. Let me do this part. Hold on one second. All right.
Small businesses spend more than $500 million each year combined trying to find missing or replace missing paperwork. Hey small businesses, are you tired of losing out on business opportunities because your paperwork is not in order? And don't you hate having to register in multiple websites just to find a single procurement opportunity that may not even be worth your time? Well, worry no more. Small Biz Pro is the solution to your problems. Small Biz Pro is an all-in-one cloud-based business management, compliance, and procurement assistance software platform that keeps small businesses organized, contract-ready, bank loan-ready, with quick access to procurement opportunities, as well as market research data. Here are some of the features and benefits that you receive when you use Small Biz Pro to run your business daily. Superior record keeping at your fingertips, back office management and compliance, quick access to bids and procurement opportunities in government databases. It allows you to conduct easy market research and gather industry statistics, government certification preparedness and compliance checklists, easy HR and general operations management functionality, bank loan readiness preparation and cash flow management, certified payroll and labor compliance reporting, business dictionary with defined business terms, a cloud-based business management platform that keeps small businesses organized and ready, even nonprofits, business documents securely stored in the cloud, data fully encrypted and protected by triple firewall reinforcements, on-the-spot document retrieval for quick decision-making, bank-level data security for compliance, document expiration alerts and advanced notifications. It uses security restrictions to block out unauthorized users, and much more. Try it out today for only $5 for the first 30 days. What are you waiting for? Go to www.smallbizpro.net and register now, or your competitors will. Small Biz Pro, keeping small businesses organized, business ready, and contract ready.
Man, this makes me feel so proud, man. I'm going, damn, this is like having a kid that advanced in life and you feel good about it. Oh man,
well,
this is amazing.
Anytime you give birth to a project, that is exactly what it is. So, other than your regular business, and Eric, I'm gonna switch you over here, so you're in the limelight here. Welcome, Eric. We are so happy to have you. Gilbert was very impressed when you were on the community briefing and introduced yourself.
Yes,
You're doing
sir.
what he's been wanting to do, is do that international business. And so he wanted you to do that. So, Eric, you are a financial advisor. You provide information for businesses on how to be business ready, but also being tax ready and strategically build their businesses for wealth. Am I right?
That's right. I got to tell you, though, while you guys were talking, I was laughing my butt off. And I ran upstairs and told Chico, pull all three of our kids out of college. We don't really want them back. We got three in college. And when I was in school, I'm a little bit older than you guys, they would always have a spelling bee. And I remember my teacher would come around, and I knew if you didn't get the answer right, you got.
Oh, wow.
My question was, how do you spell? But I said K-A-T, so I could sit down. That was crazy. Yeah, it was back. My profession I always wanted to be, for me, my profession that I thought I always wanted to be was a garbage man. Because back in the day, I don't know if you remember, they would jump off the truck.
Yes, I love that.
I always thought that was
so. It was cool, man.
And they make a whole lot of money.
Yes, yes. It looked so fun. I always wanted to do it, man. Yes.
They have a retirement.
Medical retirement plans for life too, you know.
Yes, man.
Exactly. And they also have and longshoremen, man, they making almost 20, they're making big money weekly, right?
Yeah.
Labor.
Yeah.
But if you get in there and you got the right resources to help you stay there for that long probation period that they have, you good to go for the rest of your life.
Oh yeah.
Well, if I heard you guys right early on, you were talking about the Hispanics. They got a month and a half, only get 28 days.
Exactly.
Good year.
Exactly. Exactly, man.
So I think they did it. I think they were a lot smarter than us. Maybe we should be celebrating from January 15th, from King's birthday,
to December 31st.
Gotta make it equal. Gotta make it equal. But you know, you said something that was real important. You said something that was real important, and I appreciate it. You know, I've been in the corporate life for a long time. I'm 64 now. But I was in the corporate life till I was 54.
Yeah.
Like the last 10 years, I've been on my own.
Yeah.
And the good thing I got from corporate life was how to play the game, you know, relationships that I still foster right now. Yeah. Matter of fact, I just left having lunch with an attorney I've known for years and a guy I worked with in Mellon 23 years ago. So, you know, those relationships, you can never beat them. You can never beat them.
That's true. That is true, man. That is true.
And that's why that's why I always recommend entrepreneurs do at least, if you're first starting out and you're young, I think you should work for a corporation. It worked for me. It helped me build a network that and gave me a shorter period of time of being able to get to the core of what I wanted to do. And I was lucky enough to bring my corporation in as a client when I first got started. So, but you know, it gives you some leverages that you don't have as a entrepreneur starting out without those connections.
Yes.
Well, just navigating the whole game. You know, it's all a game, and how to navigate it. You learn that when you're. So I think that's really something that you can't discount it. You know,
that's true.
And something you said, Gilbert, about your student loans. You know, when they sell your student loan, it's no longer a government student loan. That's why you can't get forgiven.
Oh, okay. I see. So that's
their student loans. Their student loans got sold off to a private company, and now they can't forgive it. A private company owns it, not the government.
Wow. See, that's something we don't know, man. And that kind of education we need to share with our younger folks, you know, because a lot of us, you know, we're as parents, you know, it's okay, let's get a loan and send my child to college, but we don't get the other educational part that will, you know, keep them informed and knowledgeable so they understand the journey.
So let me ask this question: if
Well,
it's so,
I saw that happen to one of my clients, and we drilled down on it, and what we learned it was that it got transferred to a private loan company, and that kind of messed it all up.
Yeah.
So if it's at a private company, what are your other options though? If it's at a private company,
pay the loan.
Pay the loan.
I think the reason that people, when they have it with the government, if you start that process of paying the government, they'll continue to work with it. But if you kind of, postponed it, pushed it out a little bit further, before you know it, the government doesn't want it, they'll sell it off to somebody else. Yeah.
Now, Greg has a question. He said, does bankruptcy wipe out a private student loan? He said it did not wipe out the government ones, but he wants to know if it does.
I don't think it will.
For the private. No,
I don't know. I don't think it will. But that's something that you should ask an attorney or a CPA. They would know better than me. Yeah.
Wow.
You don't want to do bankruptcy anyway.
Yeah.
You want to avoid as much as you can in terms of wealth.
Right. Yeah. That means you got to start over.
Something I said when
go ahead. Start
over again. Something that Gilbert heard me say when I was on the line with him at the previous conversation we had. You of your wealth the most and your legacy can be your health and taxes. Those are the two things that can rob you of your wealth and also your legacy. And if you don't tee those up the right way, health being the number one thing, because if you don't have your health, you got nothing.
Yes, that's true.
Exactly.
Health is number one. Exercise, diet, all that kind of stuff. But you also want to put some safety stuff in place. I can speak to this personally. A long-term care policy is what you want to have in place. My mom is 3 months ago, been suffering from dementia for some time. Put her into an assisted living place. She can no longer live by herself. She can no longer do her financial stuff by herself. And it kind of fell on me as her private, her POA and also her agent to take care of things. And
that's pretty costly.
Got her long-term care, fortunately, in 1996.
Oh wow!
Well, it was $2,900 back in those days. $2,900 a year.
Yeah,
that's nothing for the benefits you got.
That's
the bill
great,
monthly
man.
right now is about $7,600.
How much? How much
and
now?
Long-term care benefit, $500 paid for her. $7,500 a month she gets.
Wow, a month.
Her bill is about $7,400, $7,600. Just depends on what she does. So we're out of pocket about $100 a month.
That's not too bad, man. That's not too bad at all.
Not at all. See, not at all. Because she owns properties, and I was looking at, do we have to liquidate a property? Do we have to take stuff from the rental income? And right now we got to pull $100 from her personal financial just to cover her bills. So that's
not bad. That's not bad at all, 30s, man.
40s. Well, no, if you're in your 30s, 40s, and 50s, and I'd say 50s, you're pushing it. You want to get that long-term care policy in place immediately. So if something happens to you, a car accident can happen. You could have a stroke. You could just have early dementia. You could have Lou disease. There's all kind of things that could happen between now and when you think you're going to need it. So put it in place when it's cheap. Because I got mine just 4 years ago when I was 60. Cost me $22,000 a year.
Wow.
But I got to have it.
Wow. You got to have it because it is very costly.
It costs. Yeah.
Right. And it's so interesting.
And if I would have known what I know now, I would have did it.
And I remember, and Greg is in the as well in the insurance. But when I first started, that was kind of where I was in the insurance business, and that was back in the 90s. And we were just starting to sell long-term health care, and nobody really bought into it because everybody was young, right? So no one was thinking about themselves or their parents ever getting old when it was at the cost that you got your parents. Now is outrageous. So it's like, whoa, way outside of a budget. Although until you actually have to take care of a senior, and if they don't have adequate, like my uncle was in the military, so thank God for VA. But my mom, you know, it was a little costly there for me, and I have a girlfriend that was paying out of the nose every year for the care of her mom until she passed this recently. So yeah, it can be very costly.
So Eric, someone like me, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was listening to you.
Oh, so someone like me who is 65 right now, what kind of pricing you think I'll get for one of those long-term plans? Probably 50 grand a year.
No, I think it would be in the high 20s, 25 to almost probably close to 27,000 a year.
Yeah.
But you know, the benefit I'm looking at when I say that it cost me 22,000, what I have is I don't have just a long-term care policy, because what if I can die?
Yeah.
What I got insurance policy with long-term care rider on it. So if I get hit by a car, $1 million goes to my trust. If I need the long-term care benefit, I have $20,000 a month to pay for it. Now, right now, that's an overshot, but I don't anticipate on using it several more decades, right? So with inflation and things of that sort, I think I should be okay with a $20,000 a month benefit. So we can always pare it down, make it look good for you. You know, we can do $500,000. You got $10,000 a month. It just depends on what you want to do, what your budget does.
See, that's the kind of education a lot of us need, man, because a lot of us, you know, we never think, and I know Greg did a segment on this on the Business Zone a few months back. But most of us, we don't think about long-term care insurance. We don't think about, you know, disability, you know, those types of things. And we should be thinking about that, you know?
Well, if you have any wealth at the time you become disabled, or you need a long-term care, have a long-term care incident, you got to liquidate your wealth to pay for it.
Yeah.
And maybe that cover it. Maybe it won't. And if you liquidate your wealth, now where's your legacy?
Yeah.
Because we're building that wealth, hopefully, to pass on to our children, give them the life that we didn't have, give our grandchildren the life that we want them to see them have.
Yeah.
If you liquidate what you've built to do yourself, now there's nothing there for the family. So,
right.
You know, and something else, I think Greg touched on this too, back a while. 92 cents before the pandemic, before we started bailing out the Ukraine, before all the stuff that we're spending money on right now, 92 cents with the Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and just the interest on our debt before the pandemic and before we start bailing out the Ukraine. And right now, we just pledge Ukraine even build millions of more dollars, hundreds of millions of more dollars.
Man, I can never understand that, man. I can never understand that.
Well, I can't either. I'm with you on that. And, you know, and the thing is you got to build some tax-free streams of income. Because if you don't have tax-free streams of income and you do all this deferred comp and 401 and all that kind of stuff, you're going to probably end up taking money out in a higher tax environment. So building tax-free streams of income through a Roth IRA or through Index Universal Life or many of the other vehicles out there is what you should really consider. Because when it comes time that you want to start drawing on it, it's best if you don't pay taxes.
So Eric, I know you probably didn't plan on talking about this today, but I have some money in CalPERS. CalPERS is a City of Los Angeles retirement program, right? And you know, my retirement age, I guess they're going to retire me next year out of this program. I don't know, this year or next year, right? So that money is going to be there. I'd like to put it, you know, just carry it over into another program that'll keep growing interest and, you know, be there for me. What do you think would be a good place to put that?
You know, everybody's different. You know, there's ways to safeguard your downside and protect your upside. Yeah. But when you safeguard your downside, you're kind of capped. You might earn on your upside. But different vehicles out there that can secure your monthly income for the rest of your life, push it out to 120. But there's, you know, the big thing that Gilbert that messes people up is the volatility of the market.
Yes.
Pulling money out the worst time. You heard now you're pulling money out at a low versus at a high. So you kind of want to lock yourself you want to lock your profit in and grow it. Lock your profit in and grow it. You don't want to have any peaks and any valleys, really. Peaks are valleys. And I think we're going to see some volatility. We're going to see a lot of volatility in the markets going forward because of all the things that are going on.
Well, the stocks went down yesterday. It dropped tremendously.
Oh, yeah. I don't want to give you a product specific because I don't know enough about you.
Yeah.
There's ways to secure your retirement to make sure you don't lose any of it.
Right. Greg said it's defined benefit plan that will pay monthly for life. That's what he said.
So for our small businesses, who, they have marginal returns as it is, what are some of the ways they need to do? One, because they're not like employees, so they don't have money going into the system every pay period. What are some of the strategies they should be even contemplating in order to prepare for by the time they're 60 and 65 years old? Just on a general,
the first thing. Yeah, I think the first things everyone should do if you're a small business owner is get a good bookkeeper, because one that can mesh. But taxes aren't straight, your books aren't straight. The IRS and the state of California especially will come after you. So you want to get your books straight. Get a bookkeeper. It's not expensive. I pay $170 a month for my bookkeeper, so it's not expensive. In terms of building your return. To me, I'm a fan of Index Universal Life. I have 3 policies myself. Well, I have 4, one specifically for long-term care, but the 3 are to build tax-free streams of income. You're growing money on a tax-free basis. You pull it out on a tax-free basis. If you were to die prematurely, your estate gets a tax-free death benefit. You can't beat that, which is a multiple of what you put.
Wow.
So that's the way to do it if you're an entrepreneur trying to grow your retirement plan.
Yeah.
And you can make it deductible. I would say just pay it after tax so that you can have the tax-free stream of income versus making a deferred type of program for yourself.
Right. That's good information, man. That's good information. Yeah. And I know, Eric, you're also align yourself with some international business too. So we want to hear a little bit about that international business in the diaspora.
My wife's from Kenya. Yeah, my wife's from Kenya. She's, the youngest of 11 over there.
Yeah.
Some infrastructure deals going on. I don't know if you guys are aware, but the Chinese have taken over a lot of stuff in Africa.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
Matter of fact, they have a Chinatown, quote unquote, in Kenya.
I believe you, Eric. You know why? Because the Chinese also take over the Caribbean, Jamaica, and all those countries. So they cut a deal with the government to build all these infrastructures and highways, right? And they name it from the Chinese like cities or whatever. So they got Beijing Highway, all of that stuff in Jamaica right now. It's unbelievable. So I believe you, man. I believe you.
Well, and Gilbert, what they're doing too is the people that they bring over in Kenya, for example, those are people they want to get rid of.
Exactly.
So they bring them over to Kenya, make them workers, and then leave them there. And now Kenya's stuck with their undesirable. Yeah, so it's a crazy thing. Now the government right now in Kenya is trying to change that. They want banks. They want you to use their people for labor. That's what they want to do. But it's a challenge because some of the pricing that the Chinese bring in, you just can't beat it. But it's a challenge right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I heard that quite a few African countries have been pushing back so that they could actually run their own countries. I have a friend and a colleague that's doing business now in Cape Town in South Africa, and he's also doing business in Namibia. So and he's Black, so bringing his resources there and helping to build, and I think also Ghana. How did it get to that place though? Because here's my thing. when you think of a country, when you think of the continent of Africa, where predominantly everybody is the same, how did they lose control? And I asked the same question when I went to Jamaica. How the hell did a country that's predominantly Black lose their control to other entities? Because there's also East Asians in Jamaica as well, right, Gilbert?
Yeah, they are. And they lose control because of the money, the monetary part of it. That's the part. Because we need money to fund projects, infrastructure, programs. We don't have it. So our only alternative at the time was the U.S. to go through the International Monetary Fund. Well, what the U.S. was doing, they were hitting us with high interest rate, like 23, 25%. No third world nation can survive that way. And that's why you see some of those African countries, they were going through that too, because they were trying to borrow from the International Monetary Fund that was there to help augment many of the countries, the African countries, Caribbean countries, and all that. So the Chinese are sitting back and they're watching that. They're going, okay, we're gonna brutalize you, but we're not gonna brutalize you as badly as the U.S. So they come in with their financial schemes and systems and said, okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're going to help you build your infrastructure, but this is what we want. We want to bring our own criminals over to do the construction. And we want most of your buildings to be named, off a Chinese name or whatever. That's what they did, man. That's what they did. So maybe Eric can give you his version.
And Gilbert, to your point, you don't Ukrainian to me, so you don't get no free money.
Exactly.
There we go.
I'm just going to call it the way it is. I'm just going to call it the way it is.
Exactly, man.
You don't get free money. You don't get free money. You get money by interest rate.
Yes.
So no one was raising their hand in the United States to African nations.
Yeah.
They were just helping those that look like predominantly them. So that's kind of where we're at. And the Chinese saw that opening. They stepped through it. They cracked and stepped through it.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense because Africa is a country full of minerals. I mean, all kinds of valuable assets and natural products that's indigenous to that country. So my question, so that makes more sense. So when they did need help, so let me ask this question, Eric. So Gilbert and I talk about the Hispanics and the African Americans here in America coming together. What is keeping us Black folks that were descendants of Africa from joining with Africans in order to help them have a better position? And would it even help?
I don't think there's much keeping us from doing it. We just got to go over there and do it. They like to work with people that look like us if they can. You got to bring some capital, ability to bring capital to the table. If you can put the lending together through their banks or through banks here in the United States, they're more than willing to do it with you and push out the Chinese at this point.
Right.
So there's nothing stopping us at all. Everybody thinks, they're gonna, like my wife speaks is English, but it's over there. It's easy to communicate. They like looking at people that look like them. They like working with people that look like them. It's just a matter of us getting over there and doing it. We also have a cosmetic business going on over there right now too.
Yes. See, Crystal,
more so than women's.
Right, exactly.
Go ahead.
That's a good thing that we can look at also, Crystal, because I know you have a passion for the cosmetics and beauty industry. And since there's an allegiance there, because I'm watching TikToks and YouTube, but I'm seeing the African women. When I say African, I'm talking about the 54 countries in Africa, right? So you got Ghana, you got Nigeria, you got South Africa, you name it. They're all looking a certain way because they're wearing certain types of cosmetics and beauty products. So that might be an angle that we can leverage, by teaming up.
I know my
what I learned.
Go ahead, Eric. I'm sorry.
My wife was in Kenya. Slavery was a footnote in their history books.
Oh,
It wasn't a
wow.
predominant thing in their history books because they didn't get slaves on the east side; they got them on the west side. When I look at my
Right.
ancestry, they came from Cameroon.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they got on the west side because that was they could go, got the slaves, brought them back. But in Kenya, it was just a footnote. So, you know, they don't really understand the struggle that African Americans are going through for the most part. I mean, it's becoming more known now that their arms are open to receive us. Tanzania, Kenya, all the countries on the east side are open to work with us if we want to come over there and work with them.
You know what's amazing, Eric? When Marcus Garvey started back in the early 1900s, right? 1910, 1917, somewhere around there, he galvanized most of the African countries like Tanzania, Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana. He influenced them with his economic policies, and they like what he's doing. That's why many of those countries, you see them using that color, the red, the black, and the green or gold, right? That's the color that Marcus Garvey was using, with his influence. And I think we should go back to try to doing that type of alliance because no one else is stepping in to help. We've got some, intellectual resources and maybe some financial resources. I think we should, initiate a trade. What do you call that? A trade journey, mission, trade mission.
And that would be my next question. So let's say, because a lot of our businesses, when you talk to them, they are not even savvy enough to do business outside of the state of California, let alone internationally and what that looks like. But if you're importing, exporting, you do have to, there's some other steps in education that has to be in place for that, right?
Right.
And connections or some from a governmental side, right?
Yeah. Like letters of credit
you need to have. Well, yeah. When I look at our own situation, I'll go back to the cosmetic business. I mean, my wife is the youngest of 11. So she's got nieces and nephews that are older than her that we do a lot of stuff through. So, we can ship stuff over there and have them handle it for us. That's what we've been doing for the most part. So getting past a lot of the different, customs and different stuff that we normally would have to go through.
Right.
We can get past that.
Yeah.
So you're using.
I think it's just about going over there, setting some relationships. Drilling down on those relationships. You can't be all things to everybody, but drilling down on a few relationships and just seeing how you can help each other because they want to grow too. They want to make money also. So if you can make it good for everybody. Yeah.
When was the last time, Eric, you or your wife went back to the African diaspora on a trade mission or with the intent to do business over there? When was the last time?
Year, well, not a year yet. It'll be a year come December, but we'll be back in there in December, mid-December through mid-January. We'll be back over there for about a month.
What's going to be the purpose of this mission in December?
Well, to see family, but also to see how we can find some other opportunities to look at possibly buying some homes or buying a home. Different things like that. Different things.
Do they allow you? Do they allow people from outside of the country to purchase homes there? Yeah.
Now your wife.
That's all you got to have.
Money. Okay. But your wife she still has her Kenyan citizenship, right? She's an
American citizen. She has dual citizenship.
Dual citizenship. Okay. Yeah, my niece lives in Cairo, and and she was in the cosmetology industry here, and that's one of the things I'm going to help her do is because they don't have products for black skin like makeup and so forth. Even though Egyptians look like us, they seem to think that they're not. They think they're Arabs. And so one of the things is I know. I bought a lot of products to her so that she could do makeup over there. She had taken a lot when she first went back to Egypt, and she's got dual citizenship as well. So that's one of the countries that I'm going to do. We're going to work on doing that. She has a girlfriend that is also in the industry here, so we're gonna help her. I'm gonna help her create a business there, so that she has resources for herself and her child.
And Crystal, as soon as she got off the plane, those products were sold. It was that quick. It's just
amazing, man. Amazing.
You can't bring enough over there. You can't bring enough over there.
You can't. In fact, here was one I just discovered that so she has a baby, and I took a baby Oragel because the baby is teething, right? So when the baby was crying the other day, I said, "What?" I said, "Are you using the Oragel?" She goes, My husband's cousin took it because their Oragel is toxic to their children."
Oh,
so like,
wow.
Oh, hell, man. So we need to ship that in.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I really do, Eric. I really do think we need to form an alliance, man, and start tapping into some of these countries over there in the diaspora, man, because if we try to conduct business here alone, it may take a much longer time for us to get to where we need to be. We just got to short circuit things and just go straight to the diaspora, man, and do some business over there.
Well, I can't speak about the other nations within the continent of Africa, but I can tell you in Kenya, they have a lot of tribal things going on. Tribe's better than that tribe. Our tribe is this, whatever, preconceived notions. That's starting to dissipate with the younger group, but with the older people, when I say older, I'm talking about 50 plus, they still hold that tribal stuff in their head for some reason.
If you come from the north
in the United States.
Yeah.
Right.
They have the same thing in South Africa because I know in South Africa, I was
going to say, look at us here in the United States. We have all kind of division among ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
We got all kinds of stuff. Until all of us get past that and understand there is no competition. There's too much business out there for us to compete.
Right.
We just all need to do it together and collectively. We're going to continue to struggle, So that's the key thing. Just looking at there's enough business out there for everybody. Let's collaborate and we all grow together. That's the key thing that we have to do, in my mind anyway.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree too. That's why when Keith, my friend and his family, and of course his wife is from South Africa, so she's got she's a naturalized citizen here, but she still has family there. So I actually helped introduce the entrepreneur program that I use for kids to him. So he's setting that program up in South Africa for young people there. So we're going to be doing some business there. But he is doing his business. He started in Ghana, and he has a partner that's Ghanese. And I think that's the key. So just like your wife is from Kenya, I think you got to find that individual that is from connection, right?
Yeah.
So you can circumvent the government.
But Crystal, I don't think it's hard to find, Crystal. I don't think it's hard to find. When they see you're from the United States, people will approach you and want to know, okay, what are you doing? What are you doing here? Conversation before you know it, you're the right person. That's going to help you forward, push forward what you want to get done. Yeah. Now, they want a piece of it. That's fine.
Yeah.
Right.
When you go there in December or January, Eric, I would really love, once you get there, you target a few folks, a few business folks, alliances, and see what their needs are, what is it they're looking for, and how we can supply that for them. I tend to want to think more of service than products, because products is so hard to get across the borders and all of those things. But, what do you think? What do you think about that, Eric? Think about that idea.
When you say services, what kind of services are you talking about?
Well, certain entrepreneurial services, coaching, prepare them, teach them how to do certain things. I don't know I know with government contracts, it's difficult in many of those countries because they have, they have their way of doing things, and and like you say, you got tribal, right? So one tribe might think that they're the superior tribe, so everything should run through them before it can be dispersed to everybody else. So that could be an issue. But
well, their way of doing things, that's a polite way to say it, Gilbert. I mean, it's kind of their way with them,
exactly.
unless you're a dominant force already, like the Chinese.
But
because they have incentive and they want to see it flip around back to their people and to their country, I think they're a little bit more willing to work with people of our color versus working with the Chinese or somebody of that sort right now. Yeah.
Right.
Do they have like for the young people? Do they have programs? Because we have accessibility to a lot of education and entrepreneurial services and support. Is that something that would be needed there, or is it already prevalent? I know the universities and a lot of them are educated either in Great Britain, but or the service, because that's basically what Gilbert and I do. We provide coaching and educational training for entrepreneurs so that they can launch their businesses and be successful at that. And Gilbert is on the other side of that. He helps them become contract ready. Is that those services something? And I know Kenya is basically your resource base. Is that something that would be needed in those countries for the younger people, for young adults coming into?
For the younger people, my wife went to boarding school. The education, as you alluded to, is mainly European education for the most part. But they like the education platform in their own country. But right now, it's mainly boarding school, European school. When you get to the college level, big on education, real big on education. And going through getting the degrees, the master's degree, the PhD, and all that kind of stuff. They're big on that right now.
Right.
Okay. So, but that doesn't
help them do it internally.
Right.
Okay.
For young kids, I would say yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I'm thinking,
I told Shiko to come join me, but she's doing something else because I heard in another time. But she could probably give you a lot more insight on what's going on in Kenya.
Oh, that would be nice. That would be nice because I'm thinking, when we make trips to foreign countries, we should try to maximize those trips and try to see, what are some of the needs business-wise that many of those other folks are looking for, and how we can help them to make that connection. So you're going in December and January. We would love, the opportunity for you to, because I don't think I can make it this December or January, but another time. But I'd love for you to make that connection, man, and see who are some of the key people over there that we can talk to online or on phone, that type of thing.
I know,
Gilbert, the thing is too, like within a relationship, everything happens over time, right?
Yeah.
So the show up and say, hey, we want to get this done today.
Yeah.
That won't happen. But to show up and start that relationship and start flow with, I think that'll do it if you're looking to have a long-term impact and a long-term relationship.
Right.
And I know when I was in South Africa, so the same issues we have in America, where we've been traumatized by the dominance of white America, they have that same issue in South Africa. And the poverty in South Africa is human. I have never there is nowhere, I think, in the United States, maybe with the exception of the Appalachians, and that's for white people, I don't think there's anywhere that has poverty to that level. And Egypt is like that as well, because Egypt is predominantly reliant on a tourist hospitality trade, and that's their industry. So when you look at poverty in those places, we don't even have anything like that here in America. even those of us that were, coming from generations of that mindset, we still have more than they do.
Wow.
And
yeah, but when you look at what's going on here, Crystal, when you look at what's going on here, I know when I grew up, there was a middle class, which I was part of. Okay.
Right, exactly.
The gap between those who have and don't have is widening and widening and widening.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I can tell you, start doing something on a consistent basis at a young age, what you can build over time is amazing. You'll be surprised. But it's when you start it, when you're in your 50s or in your 60s, it's like you got a short runway. You don't have enough time to really click it in. But if you start when you're young, your 30s, when you first start working, you start to say, it doesn't take a lot, just start saving a little bit. You'll be surprised what it can amount to over a period of time when you get ready to retire at 50.
Yeah.
30 to just 20 years. If you put a little bit away in 20 years, you can build.
But I do think,
and then as far as legacy, one of the key things is having all your documents right. I talked about having the right, a person to watch your books, a bookkeeper, but also your trust, your wills, your directories, and chain incapacitated, who's in charge of your stuff. All those type of things. Those little things are need to put in place that a lot of times we don't think about till we're 50-something years old. It's better to put in place the sooner the better, and just monitor it on an ongoing basis.
I completely agree. The earlier you start, and that's one of the conversations I have with young people. They're not even in the workplace already, but I'm already talking about planning 10 years ahead of where you are today, so you're in the right mindset. I do on Mondays, I'm on another podcast with a friend of mine that is a retirement plan advisor, and generally people don't. And I told him, and I laughed because when we started working for corporate America and they were talking about 401ks and pension plans and all that, it's like, oh, we ain't gonna never be that old. We're not even worried about that, right? I'm not even gonna be at this job long enough to worry about a pension plan. So you don't start thinking about that until you're 50.
That was that same challenge that the Obamacare program experienced, because the younger folks, they didn't want to enroll in it. They're going, hey, I'm fit, I'm young, I don't need that. But they were relying on the subscription from the younger folks to take care of the older folks. You see what I mean? So I think it's a cyclical thing, man, where we all think that way from time to time.
Yeah.
Well, when you think about when you think about what was the conversation at the dinner table when you guys were little. I mean, at my dinner table, my mom was a teacher. My dad worked for Cal Berkeley in their science facility. The conversation wasn't about how to build wealth, how to buy a house, how to put money away. That wasn't a conversation. When you think about Donald Trump, you think about Mitt Romney. Those people are sitting there and they're how to buy this, how to do that, how to leverage this, how to get a 40-year lease on this. Because you're hearing it as a young kid. We just got to change the conversation up with our children and expose them sooner than, telling them when they get to be 30, 40 years old, it's kind of too late. We just start talking about it when they're in grade school. Not that they're hearing it and understanding it. It's starting to tune in to what's going on. So the sooner the better when you can tell your kids about what's going on.
I agree.
We don't have those conversations. I remember we never, in fact, we're from an era that parents didn't think it was appropriate to have those kind of conversations with their children, right? You right, very secretive about that, especially in the Black families. You didn't have that. Even when you look at the Asian community, their kids learn about entrepreneurship at a very young age because their parents are entrepreneurs. And same thing in a Hispanic family, everybody's involved in the family business, right? But in America, Black folks, you don't. A lot of kids don't even know what their parents do for a living, let alone whether or not what they have as far as assets and things like that, because that wasn't a conversation. But it is a conversation that wealthy, rich people have with their kids. White people have that conversation early on.
Oh yeah. And I back to Hispanics, I see the gardeners around here. When school gets out, their kids don't get to sleep in. They're helping that line.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, if they're with their moms cleaning houses, they don't get to sleep in
Yeah.
and take the summer.
Mm-mm.
You know, same thing with Asian kids. If there's a store that's being run or something like that, they're in that store after school as well as on the summertime.
Yeah.
So you're from
Yeah.
day one. What time? Okay, you get to sleep. Then when you get up, what are you gonna do? I'm gonna go to the pool. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do. We gotta get them more in tune to what we're doing and what our friends are doing.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, because that is not how we're raised. In fact, parents are like negotiating with them and they're going to camps and things like that, but they don't learn how to run businesses. Although in the South, our kids did. You know, our great grandparents and parents, they did. It was a family story, everybody was involved in that. Like, but you know, we got to that middle class place and we figured we want our children to have an easier life than we had, and we don't want them to suffer. So we're going to give them everything, but in the long run, we've actually hurt them more than we helped them.
Yeah.
I think I
grew up thinking I mean, you guys probably grew up the same way. I grew up thinking I want to do better than the generation before me.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I'm going to go ahead and help after me, which is my kids, do well.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, what I did was I spoiled them. I didn't teach them how to fish because the fish was at the market.
Yeah, exactly.
Go to the market.
That is so true.
They don't have the fire in their belly that we had to make stuff happen, you know?
That is so true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was reading something today that Shaq, for his kids, before he gives them money, and if they have an idea, they have to present him with an actual business plan.
I've seen that.
Then he invests in their business, but they have to present him with a well thought out business plan before he hands out big money.
You know what, Crystal? Hey, but Crystal, truth be told, if one of his kids needs money, come on. You know,
he's gonna give it.
You're not going to see none of his kids on off the 110 freeway in a tent. That's for sure.
He just recently bought a $30,000 watch for one of his sons. You know.
Because they got the money. But I'm very much interested in expanding outside of the United States. To do business. I do have clients across the country, but I do think my area of expertise is accounting, bookkeeping, being able to keep track of all your numbers because it starts there. And I do know there are a lot of young African in our early days of our podcast. I was doing a lot of boosting on Facebook. We had a pretty big audience coming from Africa, and a lot of reception and questions and things like that. So I think Gilbert and I need to get back there. But before we close out today, Eric, you had a podcast called what was it called? What was your podcast? It was wait.
It was called Wait What? Financial Matters That Matter.
Okay, I like that.
That was before the pandemic, you know, and I kind of just let it go during the pandemic and after the pandemic.
And you should resume it, man. You should do it again.
Actually, it was needed during the pandemic.
Because a lot of our young entrepreneurs, even the older ones, they need that information. They need it.
Yeah, I might do that, but I got so many other things on my plate in terms of college. My mom with dementia. I mean, I got so many things on my plate right now. There's not enough time in the day for me to do it.
Man, you gotta have that entrepreneurial talk with your kids, man, and say, hey, man, listen. I know you probably got 2 more years to go, but hey, I'm giving you an out right now. I want to lead you down the path of entrepreneurship.
Are any of
so I don't have to pay anymore. Any of them entrepreneurial?
We got 2 of them. We got 2 earmarked to do some stuff with us already in Kenya. So it's a matter of time before we expose into it.
I would love for us to have another meeting and have your wife on there too, so she can kind of give us some insight as to what it would be like to do business in Kenya. You know,
one of the key things too, Gilbert, is you got to look at the exchange rate.
Yeah,
here versus what a dollar is in unbelievable.
What's the exchange?
Any other place,
What's the exchange?
Well, right now a dollar in Kenya is like $100 in shillings.
Yeah,
100 shillings.
It's similar to Jamaica. I think Jamaica is like 150 to $1.
Yeah,
and each of it
and
was
I'm rounding
30 to
it down.
1.
It's more than that, but I'm rounding it down. But when you start looking at the exchange rate of the U.S. dollar in any other country, it's worth you taking a look at, because you get more for your money, more bang for your money. Just the exchange rate.
Yeah, Cairo was Egypt is 30 to 1, and $1, just doing business with them was pretty impressive. And you give them $5 and you think you didn't give them a king's ransom. So something to definitely look at. Well, Eric, it's been awesome, and we do thank you, and we look forward to maybe us doing something together. And I know Gilbert is very anxious.
I'm definitely looking forward to it, man. Because since I don't have that retirement plan, that disability fund, I want to get it another way, man, by doing business with another country.
And actually, Gilbert's product, Small Biz Pro, I think it actually can translate very well in any country. Being able to, like, it's the financial, it's the having that structure, right? Your business processes, being able to maintain all your documents and be ready so that you can be, as we say, business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. So I think his product would do really well in other countries as well.
Yeah. Right. And I believe,
and Greg and I are in the same business. I've probably been doing a little bit longer than him just because I'm older than him, but I'm just looking at some of the comments here. I mean, it doesn't take a whole lot of, I don't want to say that. It doesn't take a lot of brain to help you out. It's just getting the right person who has experience and tenure in that space to help you. And I guess that's the key. You don't want to, you want to deal with somebody who's got some experience, who's got some tenure in that space, working with new people who might know the answer.
Yeah. Right.
So you're looking at people a little bit older, like I said, with tenure and experience is what you really need to work with.
I'm excited about this prospect, Eric. I really do think that we need to form an alliance and go after these foreign markets, man. And you already have a pathway there through your wife, and we just want to work with that and see how we can help it to foster and grow, and then we can start spreading. I mean, Crystal has access in South Africa. You got access in Kenya. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's all about exposure.
It is. And Gilbert, I cannot imagine Jamaica could not use some assistance as well.
I'm sure. I'm just gonna have to try to find out who the key players are, because I've been removed from the market for so long, man. They've got different players now that I don't even know about. So I gotta reconnect and reestablish those connections.
Well, Eric, it's been awesome. Thank you so much for spending the afternoon with us. We so appreciate it, and thank you for joining us on the community briefing, because I know you pop in on a regular basis, and we got some amazing people that come over there and have conversations. So,
did you want to put a phone number, an email, or something out there so folks know how to get a hold of you, Eric?
Okay, is that in the private chat?
Yeah, put it in the private chat, and then we'll carry it over to the general chat.
Yeah, I think that would be good, because the thing about this program, Eric, sometimes we don't even know who's watching or who is following up and tapping into the site, So you may just put something out there and someone stumble across and, oh my Lord, this is what I've been looking for. Let me call this guy, So it's amazing, man. It's amazing.
And so your area of expertise is obviously making sure that you understand the tax codes and how to keep most of your money.
Thing is, Crystal. Yeah, Crystal, I've been blessed. I've had a good career. I worked for a bunch of big companies. When I moved to Southern California almost 30 years ago, I was head of First Interstate Investments, which got bought by Wells Fargo. And then I was the regional manager Fargo. And then I was the principal of Southern California for State Street Global Advisors. And then I was at Mellon for a while, 10 years. I was a senior director with them. And then I ran BNP Paribas US Wealth Management for the French. So I had 19 states here in the United States. So I had a lot of exposure to guys who were kind of growing through the ranks with me. And now we're all hanging our own shingles and we just do deals together. We help people not pay capital gains. We help push down tax. We help them put stuff, tax-free streams of income, which I was talking about. We do all kinds of things. So it's a bunch of different things we can do.
And I may have a referral for you once, so that my friend and client, we're actually his company is going public, and probably in the next 15 to 20 days. I think he's in New York right now filing the S1s. So he's probably going to need some assistance in that area. He's down in the in Orange County.
Well, if he's going public, he's going to have to restrict. But yeah, we can work with him on that stuff.
Yeah. So he's probably in the next few days. We've been working on this for a while. So we're ready, and I do the financial piece of it, the accounting and all that sort of stuff. So we're finishing up our audit right now, and we'll be ready.
Very good.
Very short.
Appreciate you guys having me. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
Not
and
a problem, man.
Meeting your wife in the future.
This was great having you, Eric. I love to share brain power with another brainiac. You know?
I'm not a brainiac. I just got the other brainiacs behind me. That's all.
Okay.
Well, that's a smart way of doing it. Gather a bunch of brainiacs around you. You know, that's good, man.
Awesome.
Well, we appreciate you, Eric. We really do, and we want to continue to make this thing happen. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'll see you on the community briefing. All righty. Bye-bye. Gilbert, you ready to take us out, my friend?
Yep, I'm ready to do. So, folks, for those of you who are just tuning in, this is the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. We're on every Friday from 3 to 4:30, and we bring on very special guests every week or every other week so they can share their area of expertise in the industry. As you can see, we just had Mr. Eric Bell on, and he's one of the premier wealth and financial advisor. And he's just phenomenal. So we can't wait to do some business with him. And you too can be on here as a guest to talk about your business and share your wealth and your resources with us. So with that being said, we want to go ahead, co-host.
You guys, we want you to go over to our YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button so you can join our family and you can get access and an advanced notification when we're going on air, which is weekly, every week at 3:00 on YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn, and we're streaming live as well on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it today. And we want you to join us. And if you guys are interested in being guests on the show, please let us know. Our information is over there in the chat, or you can find it in the description of any of the shows that's housed over on YouTube. We have been on air for this is our 7th year, so there are over 700 videos over there in our archives talking about every subject imaginable as it pertains to business. And so we welcome you to visit and stroll through. I have some friends every now and then do some binge watching. I find that admirable that you binge watch the Business Zone.
they're ninja watchers. That's what
ninja watchers. So with that, Gilbert, you ready to take us out?
Oh yes, we're out, folks. We'll see you next week. Catch you on.
As a small biz pro, I so we roll.